Coaches love this time of year. This is a time when teams can really get extra time in the gym, extra time with their position coaches. Both teams take a lot of pride in that rebounding battle, and it was going to be an all-out war, and it has been so far. Toledo's winning it so far 19-14. She's completely rewriting the record books, and that's exactly what Brady Saleh expected her to do when he brought her in from Sweden over 4 years ago. When you get in a conference, it's really a clean slate. Records are 0-0, and this is what you play for. This is what you prepare for in the summer. She's getting in the paint, getting the ball exactly where it needs to go, able to kick it out to her teammates. Toledo does a great job of scoring in transition. Very difficult to defend the transition game when you're turning the ball over, so taking care of it and limiting turnovers is going to be huge. Make someone else on Ball State's roster beat us, and they're being extremely successful at that right now.
Two blistering hot teams come inside Worthen Arena here today. The Toledo Rockets have won 5 straight, and Ball State looks for their 7th win in 8 tries. Hello, everybody. Glad you could join us for the Mid-American Conference opener. Rachel Galligan, former Eastern Illinois standout. I'm Connor Onion. Rachel mentioned it's the Mid-American Conference opener. Psychologically, as a player, how important is it to get that first win?
It's huge. I mean, at this point, scores, records really don't matter, because when you get in a conference, it's really a clean slate. Records are 0-0, and this is what you play for. This is what you prepare for in the summer. This is what you work for in the preseason. This is what you prepare for in the non-conference, and so getting that first win is really important.
We've got our eye on Brene Harris for the Toledo Rockets as the point guard for Toledo. What does she bring to the table?
Brene Harris brings a lot to the table. Her ability to score in a lot of different ways. She can get it to the rim, finish strong. She does a great job of coming off screens. Her mid-range game is tremendous. She can shoot the 3 and is actually shooting it at the highest percentage on the team at 44%. She's also shooting the best free throw percentage on the team. So she's a tremendous player. Going to need a big night from Brene this evening.
Looking at Ball State, we're keeping our eye on Natalie Fontaine. She's been on an absolute tear lately. What does she bring to the table for the Cardinals?
A whole lot. I mean, you can't say enough about what Natalie Fontaine is doing statistically. Scoring it in the paint really at will at this point, and just averaging just shy of a double-double. Going to need a big game from Natalie this evening. You know, what she's done scoring-wise, you know, her stats have increased really every year that she's been here, averaging, like I said, just under 24 points a game, just shy of that double-double with 9.7 rebounds a game. Going to need a big night from Nat today.
Looking at Brene Harris for the Toledo Rockets, Natalie Fontaine for the Ball State Cardinals. If both teams want their first win in the Mid-American Conference season, what do they need to do here today?
Really not some difficult keys whatsoever. I mean, for Toledo, it's going to be, you can't allow the big 3 to go off. And when I say big 3, I'm talking about Natalie Fontaine, Mariah Monaco, and Jill Morrison. You can't let them have career nights. And a big stat that Tricia Cullipp and her Toledo Rockets take a lot of pride in is winning that rebounding battle. That's going to be huge for Ball State, defending that home court with toughness. And when I talk about toughness, I'm talking about hustle plays, diving on the floor, getting loose balls, winning the rebounding battle. That's a stat that you can't lose at home. And then finally, taking care of the ball. Toledo does a great job of scoring in transition. Very difficult to defend the transition game when you're turning the ball over. So taking care of it and limiting turnovers is going to be huge.
Looking at their offensive attack here early on, how can they expose this Toledo defense?
I think you want to really try to throw the ball inside a lot, as much as you can. That's really where Ball State's made their money so far this season. So looking to throw it inside, especially to Natalie Fontaine, will be huge.
Ball State coming off a convincing win over St. Louis, a team that came in 9-2 on Monday night. A 9-point victory for the Cardinals, 79-70. Ball State patiently operating here as Murder pops a 3, and it's in and out as Toledo now has their first crack at it offensively. Bravo Harriet into Reeker. Up top for Monicana, and she finishes through traffic to give Toledo the 2-0 lead.
You saw Shelby Murder right there really try to step up and take that charge. Unfortunately, I believe she was inside that arc. She really needed to take a step forward, create more contact. Then I think she would have gotten that call.
Murder gets the start again here today. We are expected to see Renee Bennett after she sprained her ankle a few weeks back before the University of Evansville game. A turnover as Reeker intercepts for Toledo.
And that's just a perfect example of two teams knowing each other extremely well. Toledo knew exactly where that ball was going. The help was there. They were able to get the turnover.
Harris off a high ball screen. For three, it's Bravo Harriet, and it's long. The defensive rebound to Monaco for Ball State. Ball State still looking for their first bucket here. A minute and a half in. Murder for three again. She tries from the left side, and this time she connects.
And that's exactly what Shelby Murder could do. She's actually shooting the ball very well from beyond the arc. That's one of the biggest strengths of her game right there.
Toledo with Reeker into the post, and she's hacked by Fontaine, and Reeker goes to the free throw line for two.
What you're going to see a lot out of Toledo is a lot of ball screens, a lot of ball screen pick and rolls. You see there Reeker rolling hard to the basket. She's one person on the Toledo team who sets a ton of screens, and she does a great job at it.
We talked a lot about their guards in the open with Harris and Capitosto. Didn't have much to say about Reeker, but it looks like they're trying to get her free inside off the roll.
And she does a good job. She really is extremely coachable. You know, like I said, she's got great hands inside. She works hard. She posts up strong. She's a nice weapon inside. She's got the ability to have a big game.
And she gets it done at the free throw line as well. She's perfect. Give the Rockets the lead right back at 4-3. Ball State a sparkling 5-0 here inside Worthen Arena this season. Fontaine hops into the lane and finishes off the glass.
That right there is something that we haven't seen Natalie Fontaine do the last few years. Her ability to go left is something that she's been working on, and that's going to be very pivotal, especially in league play.
Bravo Harriet to the cup, and she goes glass and banks it in. Bravo Harriet last year finished as the MAC Freshman of the Year. Mariah Monaco just behind her second in the league voting. So two of the young stars in this league, with Bravo Harriet and Mariah Monaco on display here today. Talked to Mickey Hall, the assistant for Toledo before the game, and she said it'll kind of be defense by committee in guarding Natalie Fontaine. There's not really one individual matchup that they can put on Natalie Fontaine, as most opponents for Ball State this year have experienced.
Well, especially, you know, when you're talking about the MAC preseason player of the year, she's going to get hers to some degree. You know, she's just that dynamic of a player. Talking to Trish Cullip and shoot around earlier this morning, it's really a team effort. When you're guarding the best player on the other team, it's not just one person. It's five people doing their job, being able to, you know, not allow Natalie Fontaine to have a career night.
Three from straight away, Montacana all net. So Toledo out to a hot start here early. 3 of 4 to start, and they have a 4-point lead over the Cardinals.
That only being the 8th three that Montacana has made all year. She can shoot out there. She hasn't shot a ton, only shooting about 24%.
Whistle underneath as Montacana goes tumbling to the deck. It stays with Ball State as the first personal of the game goes against Montacana. First team foul for Toledo, first personal against her as Murder pops three and banks it off the glass. Ball State within 2, playing defense here. Into the lane goes Capitosto. She lofts it up and in.
That's one thing she's doing as well more this year, you know, in her senior season, being able to get it to the rim, finishing strong.
Offensive foul as Grande lost control of her body, and to take it was Montacana. So Montacana not only making her impact felt here offensively, she has 5 points to lead the Rockets, but she steps in to take the charge there. And
that's one thing about Toledo. Tricia Cullip really talked about it could be really anyone's night on any given day. You know, there's a lot of weapons, at least in that starting five, talking about Harris, Bravo Harriet, Capitosto, Montacana, Reeker. You know, there's not that one dominant player. Really, anyone's got the ability to have a career night or really go off, and that's a big, big important factor for them.
Jada Woody comes into the game for Toledo for the first time as Monaco comes up with the steal for Ball State. They trail by 4 here in the opening quarter. Murder unleashes another deep one. This time it's off the mark. She's looking for her shot here early as Murder. Harris pulls up for Toledo and she cashes it in.
And that's her game right there. You got to be careful in that transition game. Ball State needs to do a better job sprinting back, communicating, being able to pick Harris up earlier because she's coming, and that mid-range game, I mean, that's what she wants to do.
We talked about Natalie Fontaine and her 43-point performance against Evansville, but Harris has a pretty impressive individual scoring resume as well, as Monaco's off on the 3. It stays with Ball State. It's off the fingertips of Capitosto, but Harris dropped 39 against Columbia a few weeks back, and over the last 5 averaging 18 points per game. So a pass-first point guard in most scenarios, but lately she's been looking for her shot as well.
She's also a scoring point guard as well, and a leader on this team. She's played at the Big Ten level, transferring from Michigan after her freshman year, I believe, maybe sophomore year. But you know, like you just said, she can absolutely go off, along with a few others on this Toledo team as well.
Murder another 3, her 4th of the afternoon, and it's all nets. Shelby Murder from the right, from the left, from straight away. Cuts the lead to 3 for Toledo, but Reeker the other way goes glass and scores it. Grande takes it herself. Can't get the left-handed floater to go, and Toledo clears the board. Rasmussen, high archer from the baseline. Bounds off the rim into the hands of Grande. Looking to push. Cut off by Boyd on the baseline, and turns it over to Harris. Harris active defensively here for Toledo early on. Prince into the lane for the Rockets, gets the roll. The Rockets coming out here with some energy.
A ton of energy right now, definitely hustling a lot more than Ball State Cardinals, and we talked about the transition game. Toledo runs a lot of sets, they have a lot of different action they run offensively, but they're a transition first team, and right now they're killing the Cardinals on transition points.
A very battle-tested Toledo team, played a tough non-conference schedule as a foul underneath goes against Boyd, rather against Woody of Toledo. And that brings us to our first timeout. Toledo 17, Ball State 10. We're back in a moment here on ESPN3.